It's Friday. You know what time it is. Frontrunner Podcast Collective is back on the air. I am your humble host, Vince, and today we have a great podcast. It has been thrown up in the air. We got to get to this breaking news that just happened this morning, some of the ramifications of what's going on. We have some games that we went through with a fine-tooth comb, and some of the observations from those games and what could they lead to in the playoffs. Who knows? But before we get to any of that, the NBA never fails to deliver just the drama. When TNT puts drama behind their name, and then they talk about the NBA, right? This is what they're talking about. So, Taylor Jenkins out in Memphis. They're in playoff position. The league shook. Let me put it bluntly. The Grizzlies have just finished. Vince Russo would have been booked in 1999. Okay? Your head coach gone. Locker room questionable. Your future uncertain. Unless you're Matt Ishbia or the Wizards. So let's cook. Shouts out to Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know how much we love that dude. He's our guy. Hopefully he'll be in Vegas this WrestleMania season. Now, let's get to the Memphis Grizzlies. You're 44-29, and you fire the all-time winningest coach with 9 games left in the season. That's not basketball logic. This is like Succession season 4 with sneakers at this point. Now, here's some things that we kind of maybe led to this, okay? They lost 4 out of 5. The locker room code, whatever you want to call it, on-court spat between Bane and Aldama. I mean, this happens with all teams, but when you're not going well, especially when you're battling for playoff positioning, sometimes you run a little hot. So if you're looking at that as just a one-off, no big deal. But if you start trying to put all the pieces together, conspiracy theory style, some of these things come into question. Ja reportedly clashing with Jenkins on subs and schemes. So here's the thing. It looked like our guy got called into the principal office this morning. He got the boot after getting up on the top rope, elbow drop by Cleveland at home, and that's heat. My guy Mark Stein said this: you don't see NBA teams heading for 50 wins make coaching decisions and coaching changes with 9 games left to go before the playoffs. That's the stunning part. Now, let's get a little nerdy about this, okay? There's a lot to get to here. First and foremost, before we get to any of some of the numbers that might have kind of led us down this road, because I always want to back up theories with numbers and what have you, so you can get a kind of a snapshot of what's going on, right? That's what this podcast is about just invoking conversation. You can have some pretty solid stats to back you up when you go out and go on your position of whether pro Jenkins, non-pro Jenkins, whatever the case may be. And we want to provide that for you. But let's throw a little context into this. Now, this is what I'm going to say about Taylor Jenkins. So, a couple years ago, Ja has the incident with the gun. Now, Ja had been injured before, and they had a really good record without Ja. Taylor Jenkins being able to create offense, create philosophies, create systems that work without Ja in there. This has gone on for like the last couple years too. On top of the Ja incident and then the shoulder injury, and what have you, where he missed the rest of the season. So there's been a lot of time without Ja, and the Memphis Grizzlies have not gone to these like low level depths of the NBA dregs of society or anything like that. No, Taylor Jenkins has been able to allow Desmond Bane to flourish in the offense. We have seen the emergence of Jaren Jackson Jr., who is a possible defensive player of the year candidate, also possible all NBA candidate, and definitely going to make a all defensive NBA team. Not to say the mix matching of bench and creating opportunities for young players like Santi Aldama, who has flourished this year, of Vincent Williams, who came out of nowhere last year. Scottie Pippen Jr. has just basically taken over the mantle of what Tyus Jones was doing in Memphis. These type of things are happening under the watch of Taylor Jenkins, and they, again, a 44-29 record is what this man put together this year. They are battling for home court advantage in the first round. So, again, we got a lot of stuff going on here, right? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. Let's give you some numbers. Let you know might be some of the things that might have been underneath the surface. First and foremost, post All-Star break, Memphis Grizzlies record 8-11. Not Greg Bob. Now, the competition has ratcheted up for Memphis. The second half of the year has been harder than the first half of the year. Now, the thing with that is that you have, this is why you build up the record, because let's make this perfectly clear. Whatever you think of Ja, right now, the Memphis Grizzlies might have one top 15 player in their midst. Usually you don't go to battle for a championship unless usually with one of those guys being like a top 7 guy. So you don't have one of those. And yet and still you're battling for home court advantage throughout the first round. Now, Ja, 22.3 points per game. His turnovers are 3.7. It's a career high. He has the lowest field goal percentage since 2021. He hasn't looked comfortable in this offense all year. We thought they were trying to keep him in bubble wrap for the playoffs. We thought that this was a way to maybe insulate him from injury, things of that nature. Now, on the opposite end of that, Bane plus Jaren Jackson Jr. net rating without Ja on the court. The offense playing a more, I don't know if you want to call it team-oriented type of pace, and then maybe like the NBA style frustration. Because I think what happens is when Ja leaves, the ball gets shared. Let's just call it what it is. When you have Ja on the court, because his outside shot is not, it's very infrequent. Let's just put it that way. And if people are not going to respect his outside shot, you have to get into a lot of various pick and roll actions. You have to bring somebody up to the nail and then allow Ja to be able to run action. Now, what usually happens with that is you have a lot of guys standing around the perimeter who maybe weren't doing that when Ja was there. Now, this is not a assault on Ja. I'm just giving you what you saw when Ja wasn't in the lineup and when Ja is in the lineup. Okay? So, styles of play, clash between coach and star player. You can see maybe the rumblings of something happening. I don't know, because we're going to drop some theories a little bit later. Now, they tried to run this modern Euro pace, pass heavy system, and Ja was like sitting there like, y'all, I'm like the House of Dragons. It's like the Fast and Furious. Just give me the wheel. Just give me the ball, clear out, let me get some paint touches, and then I'll kick it out to my shooters and let's go. Okay? Ja is a downhill attack guard. That's what he's been since he's come into the league. He has a devil may care attitude when throwing his, if you want to call it, 180-pound soaking wet body into 265-pound men in the middle of the paint. And he does it every single time except for this year, right? We saw a lot of Ja. It seemed like he throttled down more, right? That's what it seemed like. And again, I thought this was all in the best interest of Ja, keeping him healthy to get to the playoffs, because that's what they have not had. They have not had a healthy Ja in the playoffs. They felt that if he was healthy getting there, then they would have a better opportunity to have success in the playoffs. Now, the Grizzlies have dropped from 6th to 17th in offensive efficiency in 2 months. Like I said, these are just numbers. These are just little clues to help us along the way. Now, this is where it gets spicy. Jenkins is not going to be on the curb long. The league is already moving in its DraftKings on Sunday slate, okay? Top fits. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't think the guy in the desert is going to make a phone call to Taylor Jenkins, you're absolutely out of your mind. Matt Ishbia is all about, he wants to win. He said it. He said he's doubling down again. He doesn't care about what you think. He doesn't care about what I think as a podcaster and somebody who's been watching basketball for 40 years and saying you can't just come in, spend money, and put a team together. You have to build continuity. You can't just buy talent and just think that it'll coalesce and find its way. Matt Ishbia told me to shut the hell up. I'm going to do what I do. Okay? There's already rumblings that Mike Budenholzer, who is a first-year coach, might be on his way out because Booker and KD aren't vibing with what Mike Budenholzer got going on. KD basically said he wants the offense simplified so he can just get buckets and go up and down the court because that's where we're most effective. And he thinks at that point in time, the defense would kind of just naturally click in. Mike Budenholzer obviously has a different way, a different approach of going about it, and they have clashed. So, enter Matt Ishbia. Have we known this guy not to hit the eject button quickly? This guy would be the greatest contestant on Press Your Luck. You know what I'm saying? For my old school people out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. Press Your Luck, no whammies. Also, Family Feud. When you up there doing, 100 people answered this question. 100 Americans answer this question, and we need the top answer. Who makes the better grits, your grandma or your mama? And then somebody hits the little thing. I'm thinking Matt Espy will be great at all of these things, because when KD came onto the market, he hit the thing. He was like, yo, yeah, we'll take him. Whatever you want, we'll give you. Hence Mikal Bridges, hence Cam Johnson, hence every pick known to man that was buried in the desert of Arizona. Matt Ishbia was like, we're getting KD. I don't care. I am making a splash. I am here to lead, not to read. And that's what I'm talking about. So, Ishbia definitely on this list. Now, I don't want to overstimulate, but I am going to say something right now that might be a little radical. It might be a little revolutionary. No, it's not Seth freaking Rollins. But how about, and I almost feel bad because I know the dude that's coaching them now, but how about the Washington Wizards walk in the door? Michael Winger, that think tank group up there, they go up there and say, hey, what up, Jenks? You want to coach in the district? You want to coach where the cherry blossoms flow in the springtime? You want to coach where we haven't had winning since like the 70s? And this is basically a Washington football town? And you can steal some of the spotlight by coming in here and bringing your can-do attitude and your very, very good offense, because that dude gets good offense out of mediocre talent, and he definitely levels up people. Not saying you want to level up Jordan Poole, maybe for trade purposes. Who knows? Now, my third team on this list, and this is where I want to get into the bigger conversation. Taylor Jenkins is a San Antonio Spurs ex-assistant coach. Coach Pop, Greg Popovich, who has been a long-standing head coach with the San Antonio Spurs. We know late in 2024, Coach Pop suffered a stroke. Some of the reports that are coming out of it have been murky at best. There hasn't been a definitive timeline. And I asked the question when it happened. And this is not disrespectful, because Greg Popovich has given a lot to this game. He's gone through eras. He's invented eras. He's given us different styles of play, different ways of going about it. But at the end of the day, Coach Pop is in his 70s. He just had a stroke. The NBA day-to-day 82 regular season game season is a grind. Is that man ready for this? Is he up for the task for this? And I'll ask the question, San Antonio, my poor Vita family, am I being disrespectful for even asking the question? Because as far as Victor Wembanyama is concerned, I think even Pop would even say that we got to do everything in our power to make this guy great. We got to surround him with superior talent. We got to surround him with the best cooks, massage therapists, sports psychologists, whatever. And the one thing that I do know about Pop is that Pop cares about the person more than he cares about the player. And I wonder at this point in time, would Pop, as a good servant, as a man of principle, would he then look at his legacy that he built, look that he ushered in the Victor Wembanyama situation, look at his career, and then say, job well done? And does Taylor Jenkins, as a Coach Pop disciple, come in and take over the legacy and lead the San Antonio Spurs to the next iteration of greatness that we long remembered with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker? And also, I'm not going to forget Sean Elliott, David Robinson, Bruce Bowen, and the crew. Manu Ginobili. You know I ain't going to forget you, my player. So, these are questions that I got to ask. These are just things that are percolating in the dome space. Now, here's the thing. I want to give you one last one just for fun and games. Taylor Jenkins is in the market. Sacramento Kings have been a dysfunctional franchise for a long period of time. In one single swoop, you could fix your whole situation if you brought in Taylor Jenkins. Just food for thought. And I like Doug Christie. I love Doug Christie. I think what he does is really great. I also think if Mike Brown would have been able to been given rope and given the reins to the team and allowed to do what he needed to do, I think also this would have been better. You probably still have De'Aaron Fox and we wouldn't be in this situation. But who am I? Again, I asked this question. So, on any of this, I want people to hit me up. I want you to join in on the conversation on X at Frontrunner PC. Also, hit up my producer who has worked tirelessly to get some of this information to us, Soraya. Thank you, Soraya, for all that you do. And she is at Rhea_Funch, FRPC on X. And also, we have Blue Sky accounts, folks. And mine stays the same. You know, I'm a creature of habit, I tell you. You know, I'm that guy. So it's at frontrunner.bsky.social. But no, Miss Soraya has to be very, very special. And her Blue Sky account is at FRPC-Rhea.bsky.social. So you have it. You have it. Where does Taylor Jenkins land? Will it be in the Valley of the Sun? Will it be in the nation's capital? Will it be at the Alamo? Now, I'm going to give you a dark horse. Will Taylor Jenkins end up on Bergen Street with Zion Williamson? I'll just throw that out there for y'all. Y'all can go ahead, throw out, that's conjecture. Do what you want with that. Now, let's get some more situations with this, because I got some things, I think some things that are interesting here. You say, well, give me the case. Give me the elevator pitch for this, Vince. Why would Taylor Jenkins not take a cushy ESPN job, or now because we have the Amazon team, also the NBC team, could Taylor Jenkins take a year off? You are absolutely correct. He could do those things. But if I was a team and I was making an elevator pitch to Mr. Jenkins, it's probably go a little something like this. If I'm the Wizards, I'm saying, hey, Alex Sarr has looked pretty good the last couple months. The three-point shot has come along. The ball handling has come along. We know that Bilal Coulibaly is a long-term, high upside dude. And we're probably going to be a top 3 pick in this 2025 NBA draft. So why don't you come down to the district and really kick our rebuild into overdrive? Now, it's a good pitch. Washington hasn't been successful for a very, very long time. So I can see Jenkins kind of thinking about that, and then Matt Ishbia comes in. Right off the PJ. The hair is kind of spiked up. He's wearing some sort of windbreaker that costs like probably about $1,400 for no apparent reason. And he's telling him things, and he's giving him buzzwords like, we want to facilitate, winning. And we want to maximize around the margins. All the things that Taylor Jenkins likes to hear because he's an analytical dude, right? These are things that these are things that are going to send, the neurons in his head are going to start bursting off. It's going to be great, right? He's going to say all the buzzwords that Taylor Jenkins likes to hear. And he's going to say, hey, listen, I'm willing to spend just obscene amounts of money to fix whatever problem you think we may have in the Valley of the Sun. So all you need to do is sign on the dotted line to be the next Phoenix Suns coach. Now, Taylor Jenkins is going to look at that, probably take a step back, put his one hand, and then kind of like scratch his chin, with the little beard, everything. He probably look back like, hold on. So they fired Frank Vogel. Okay, they just fired, in this scenario, they just fired Mike Budenholzer. And now I'm coming in and we got a disgruntled KD. Okay, we got Devin Booker, who says he's in publicly. We'll see in the off season after some stuff goes down how in our guy D Book is in. Is he real Suns up fam, or is he like, hey yo, this looks real terrible and I need to get the hell up out of Dodge? Who knows? I have no idea. But I will say this, there will be some pitches for Taylor Jenkins. There will be some, I don't think this man is going to be jobless. I don't think we have to worry about Taylor Jenkins' income anytime soon. But, again, let me know. Hit us up on Blue Sky. Hit us up on X. Let us know how you are feeling about this really crazy news that just came out of nowhere. And that's how I want to end this. I have to ask the question, right? I'll be that guy, I guess. I'll be the podcast guy that'll ask the question. What does it take for a coach who has a outstanding winning percentage, who has kept a franchise afloat when it looked like they could have done all types of sinking over the last 3 years, to come out of it, to see that Ja is relatively healthy, and then to see the flourishing of Jaren Jackson Jr. and all these role players that you build up, and you're battling for home court advantage, and they fire you? Okay, first of all, Taylor Jenkins, you lost your job on your day off. They brought you into the building to fire you. Okay, so 2 things. What the hell happened? What happened? Was it the laundry list of numbers and what they've done after the All-Star break, the low career numbers of Ja Morant? Was it the offensive efficiency drop the last 2 months? Was it all these things combined? Was it a pure performance issue? Because that makes it really hard for me to swallow that. Could it have been a power play? Could Ja have not liked the offense that was being run? We have no information on that. I am purely speculating. I'm just asking questions aloud. But what happened? Because the things that we talked about before with the numbers and the efficiency of offense and, Ja not having the greatest year and on all those things, those also can be quickly answered away, and Ja hasn't been here. Ja's been hurt. Ja's been nursing injuries. Other guys have been nursing injuries. It's been a tumultuous season. There's a lot of ways to explain all of this away. And again, I mind you, they are 15 games over 500. It's not like they are bound for the top 4 picks in the 2025 NBA draft. This team literally could be hosting the first round of a playoff series. And he's fired. So somebody in Memphis has a notebook that's probably about to be dumped, and we will find out probably what the hell happened. It's incredible to me. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. Oh my God, Soraya just dropped this in the chat. She said Taylor Jenkins walking into Phoenix is like Brock Lesnar returning to the WWE right now. Ooh, wow. Again. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. Memphis chose a path. Jenkins is a top 10 system coach in the league. If the Suns want structure or if the Wizards want a grown up, any team who wants to win, this guy really is their guy. I'm not trying to glaze him up, but again, I just told you what this man went through as the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, and he was able to keep them over 500, keep them in playoff situations. Last year was everybody got eradicated. I mean, everybody who was anybody on that team, they were playing complete G League rosters at one point last year. And he kept them afloat. So, again, I say to you, Taylor Jenkins, I don't worry about his job search. I think his LinkedIn mailbox will be full. I don't think he'll have to go on what's that defunct place? Monster.com still out there? What do the young people use? It must just be LinkedIn now, right? All right. Whew. Man, oh man. Now, here's the thing. I don't even know who's next. I'm sure one of the assistants is going to be the interim. But Memphis offseason just got really interesting. And there's something that I've been holding for a while, and it's something not to hold it from the audience, but it was something that you got the intrusive thought, and you kind of go, if I was going to put a list together of players, maybe they had a disappointing playoff series or whatever, and the franchise decided to go in a different direction, who would be on that list? Well, we got a couple answers right off the box because KD obviously is going to want out of Phoenix soon. Yeah, by the way, Taylor Jenkins, beware before you go there, my guy. Just a heads up. But another name that I popped up in my head, I was like, what if Memphis said, you know what? Ja's not here enough to really bring in that continuity and for us to really grow as a team and and define the roles of everybody where everybody kind of falls into their place, right? And what if they decided to pivot in the offseason? This is something that I had thought about. Now, they did it with the coach. Doesn't mean that Ja is necessarily walking out the door. But that coach is going to have a style. That coach is going to have an identity. That coach is going to have a philosophy that he's going to want to use. And to say there will be no roster adjustment to fit the coaching style of whoever they bring in, that would be wildly inaccurate for us to even say that, because everybody wants to put their stamp on their team. If it's a first time coach or an established veteran who's done it and done it a certain way, yeah, he might learn a couple new tricks along the way, like Kenny Atkinson or whatever, but Kenny Atkinson brought a high-powered offense to Cleveland. It wasn't something that they had it, but he basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like Fast and Furious. He put the nitro in, and it just took off. And that they now have one of the best net ratings we've ever seen. So again, different type of offseason for Memphis Grizzlies than we expected when we put our heads on the pillow last night. Because this was not on my bingo card of shit to talk about. Taylor Jenkins getting fired with a really good record, heading into the playoffs and trying to get his team playing the way that he needs them to play once they get to the playoffs so they can be successful. Now, what we were going to talk about today is some of the games that happened yesterday. And there's a lot to get into, so we will do so right now. Excuse me. I've been dealing with a cough for a couple of days now. Now, did everybody catch that Cleveland and San Antonio game? It was a lot more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. So, I want to start off like this, because it wasn't that long ago that people in Cleveland, they won 16 in a row. And then they lost 4 in a row. And they lost 4 in a row to some suspect teams. Now, did we think they were going to keep up this torrid pace the entire year? No. But losing 4 in a row for a team that we really do believe is that good, there was a cause for pause. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought about it. You know, so the Cavaliers rolled into Rocket Mortgage last night, fresh off a 2-4 record road trip, okay? And I thought, personally, I was like, okay, statement win, we got to go ahead and get this. It wasn't a blowout, not a lucky night, but it was a tight game. And it was a tight game with the San Antonio Spurs. A San Antonio Spurs team that doesn't have Wemby, that does not have De'Aaron Fox, because he's also out for the rest of the year because he had a tendon in his finger that needed surgery. But there are some bright notes on this, but I want to, kind of go over them with you. Jared Allen, he took full advantage of the non-Wemby being there. My man scored 29 points, 16 rebounds, 10 of 11 shooting. The efficiency, crazy. Big man violence all over the place. It wasn't just highlight dunks. It was deep seals, second chance domination, free throw touches, and he created real estate in the paint like he's supposed to. Okay? When you have an afro that large, when you look like you could be one of the Jackson 5 playing bass behind Michael in the 70s with that big old afro, bring back nothing but black excellence from the 70s. You got to have good post position. And we saw it time and time, time again. We just saw it over and over again. It was great. He got after it. I loved it. 29 points. He punished them. It was crazy. He only makes $20 million in this market. This is one of the greatest value contracts in the NBA right now. Now, I know I love Austin Reeves. I love me some Austin Reeves, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. And his contract is pretty good for the production we get. But, man, I love some Jared Allen. Now, let's talk a little bit about Donovan Mitchell. Look, people were whispering about D-Mitch being in a slump. He's still that guy. There was never any reason to worry. And Coach Kenny Atkinson said it best. He'll hit when it counts. And you saw it last night. This was not Mitchell 2022 who forced late game shots in Utah. This was facilitator mode, like in the vein of Chris Paul and Jamal Murray. Had a brainchild with a 40-inch vertical. My man Spider had 14 assists, 0 ISOs in the last 5 minutes. He trusted the read. He ran pick and rolls with Allen to death. And most importantly, he didn't chase the moment. He created it. That's what leadership looks like from a player. You know what I'm saying? That type of guy right there is like, I've been in this league long enough. I'm certified. Okay? I don't have to score 30 every single night. I can get this dude buckets. We can just win games. Maybe our others aren't really hitting. Maybe Ty Jerome's not hitting tonight. It still doesn't mean that I need to go out and dominate the ball and go out and get 40 because some of our guys are struggling. We still got some really capable people in this locker room, and I'm going to trust them. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a big jump for Donovan Mitchell. So shouts out to Spider Mitchell for just the maturation process, learning the game, minding the game. He must have been listening to the LeBron podcast with JJ Redick, Mind the Game, which is coming back for season 2. Season 2, LeBron James, Mind the Game is coming back. If you did not see the Pat McAfee interview with LeBron James, don't worry, we will talk about it a little bit later. But who will LeBron come back with? Steve Nash. Hell yeah, he did. But I'm just saying, Donovan Mitchell needs a tip of the cap for the type of leadership and also the type of play that he is putting together this year. He is being just a steadying force on that team. Now, Garland hit the big dagger 3. Allen caught the lob, but it all flowed from Donovan's gravity. And you could feel it. The defense was bending to his will and not just his shot. Now, give credit to San Antonio. No Wemby, out for the season. But Stephon Castle, this kid right now is climbing up the charts for Rookie of the Year. Now, we know a lot of people have kind of, trailed off. 22 points, 11 boards, 8 assists. He attacked Garland. He attacked him unmercifully. As soon as he saw Garland, he was like, lunch. Let's go to work. Garland, like, he found just a mismatch, and he just smelled blood. 8 paint touches, multiple kickouts, +1 in a losing game. It's not empty calorie stats. He drove San Antonio to be competitive in that game. And he has a way about him that reminds me like of a young John Moxley, raw but fearless, and you believe he's coming for you. He's coming for you. He's coming for your head, and he thinks it's disrespectful if you don't like really attend to him when you're guarding him. So he's about that action, and I love it. I love dudes that come into the league like I hate everybody right now, and I really am not in a real way, but in competitive way. Like, I'm coming for you. Stephon Castle has shown that. We were worried about the shot. The shot looks a lot better and is improved over the year. And I think we do have another piece in San Antonio. So, good looks. Shouts out to Brian Wright and his crew down there. I know R.C. Slocum is still kind of hanging around, but Brian Wright is basically manning the ship down in San Antonio, and these draft picks are starting to hit. Devin Vassell, on the other hand, he was a bit of a ghost. Late, only 2 points in the fourth quarter. Good early clock sets, but couldn't shake Cleveland's half-court length. That could be a problem. Statistically, this game was all Cleveland in the margin. They shot 60.9 true shooting. They had 33 assists on 46 made field goals. So there were only 13 shots that they made that weren't assisted on. That means they were sharing the sugar on a deep level. I bet you when they were out there playing basketball, now this is for my old heads out there. So you young people, you go listen to this song, okay? We about to give you an oldie but goodie. So when Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, Strus, and Jared Allen and all the guys are out there, I can hear it right now. It's the Bee Gees. And it's How Deep Is Your Love. If you ever heard that song, if your parents have ever played that for you, or if you just went down a YouTube rabbit hole, wormhole, or whatever it's called, or you're doom scrolling, if for some reason you find yourself on Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love, just the melody, just the orchestra, just how it's framed melodically is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they was playing last night. It was smooth as butter, and they moved like Series G's, so in silence, and they got that dub. So we're excited about the Cleveland Cavaliers and getting off the schneid. Now, defensively, when you only have 14 fouls in a game, that's controlled aggression. That's elite discipline without sacrificing pressure. And the synergy between Mitchell and Allen, 1.37 points per possession on pick and roll actions. That's finals level weaponry right there. So the Cavaliers are no longer a scrappy team punching up. They're not Rocky. They're Roman Reigns in the East. Say, throw up your ones for the tribal chief of the Eastern Conference of the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Play the Roman Reigns theme music. They know they're the ones to beat. Listen, I still think Boston is the number one team to beat, but Cleveland has every right to feel this way, though. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They're out here putting boots to asses to people pretty much nightly, except for that little sway, a little 4-game stretch going West Coast style. Maybe they got some Cali weed. I don't know. I don't know what they did. But They got spacing, they got defense, they got chemistry, they got depth. Struz, Okoro, Sam Merrill, our guy here on FRPC. We are a pro Sam Morril podcast here. I know that Rosello has actually had him on the podcast. We are efforting. So, Sam, if you can hear us, Frontrunner Podcast Collective has been trumpeting your story for a couple years now. So we love you too, Sam. All right. A couple more numbers out the door on Cleveland, because we got to tell you about what they about to look forward to in the playoffs. They're first in the East. They're 5 games ahead of Boston with 9 left to go. They're top 3 in offense and defense. That's elite. They are also 28-9 on the road. Okay. All right. That's awesome. That's great. Playing Survivor is going to be no threat in the first round for them. The Indy, Detroit, Milwaukee situation, they're going to be favored in that. And then it's going to be the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's going to be Boston. And Boston is going to be looking them dead in the eye. And they're going to say, hey, we have Jason Tatum. We got Jaylen Brown. Now, is Kristaps Porzingis going to be healthy? Right now, he is. Can Drew Holiday turn it on and be the vet, be that Swiss Army knife type of dude that he always is in the playoffs, and then he be like the sneaky, low-key guy who can get you like 25, and you be like, where did that come from? I don't even know where this came from. So, Cleveland, you proved it all year. You are absolutely worthy challenger to Boston. I cannot wait to see how you guys do in the playoffs. And then, when we get to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'll make my decision on who I'm going to take. That's how we do it here at Frontrunner Podcast Collective. It is a round-by-round situation. We don't do this like, oh, we're going to pick Eastern Conference Finals. I'll tell you who I think is coming out the East. I still think it's Boston. But I'm a lot less sure than I was 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I was locked in. I was like, yep, Boston's coming out the East. Now I'm kind of like, well, Boston, they still can come out the East. Yeah, I'm not saying it with my chest as much as I was a couple months, because Cleveland has showed us that they are a worthy challenger. So, what does this all mean? Don't let the combine fool you. The Cavs team, they're ready, man. They're ready for bear, and I can't wait to see it. So, let's get into a couple of the games before we bounce up out of here. A couple quick ones. Dallas, they beat Orlando. So Orlando beats the Lakers, right? The Lakers go and beat Indiana, and then we'll talk about what happened last night later on in the podcast. I got some things to say about that, but we do got some things to talk about in Dallas. One, Dallas, 47.4% from the field, 50% from deep. That's math. That's how math wins. Did you see that? 47.4% from the field, but 50% from 3-point land. Make it make sense? I will. They hit 14 triples to Orlando's 4. Jaden Hardy, 22 points, 3 steals. He was giving us prime Jamal Crawford vibes in this game. He was shifty. He was confident. And he was absolutely destroying drop coverage. You give him just a little daylight, just a little bit of daylight, and he will give you buckets. And he's not just a spark plug anymore. With the loss of Kyrie, he's going to be their playoff factor if they make it in. And if Hardy is for real, Dallas suddenly has some praise to God that they need to give, because I'm gonna tell you right now, not losing Luka to the Lakers and then losing Kyrie, I asked where the offensive facilitation was gonna come. Now this is one game. We need to see it over a period of time. But it was a nice, like, hey, there's more to me than just I can get buckets. Now, the other thing with this is that Orlando still can't shoot. I mean, I don't know what was going on there. I mean, 4 3-pointers is crazy. It's just, you can't do it in modern day basketball. You just can't. Banchero, he did everything. I mean, he did everything. 35, 10, and 4. I mean, it's just, and when Dallas started to crowd him, he got nothing from the others. They shot 4 of 24 from 3. Somebody needs to do a wellness check on them. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, their lofty free agent signing, and their second-year guard, Jet Howard, combined for 1 of 10 from 3. Very bad. We talked about it during the trade deadline. There was something that I talked about even before. I think as the season facing, what they had wasn't enough. I implored the Orlando Magic. And here's the thing. Weltman and Hammond are good dudes. They draft well. They have a type. They have certain, measures and metrics that they use, and a lot of the stuff has hit. Jalen Suggs, when healthy, we see how much of a difference he makes on this team. Paulo is a heliocentric marvel. And Franz Wagner, there's a question about who the man down there is, but Franz can get his too. So a lot of the stuff that they've done has been right on the money. But not getting another really reliable 3-point threat was kind of, I just didn't understand it at the trade deadline. I didn't understand it when you saw it, that it was a major glaring need early on in the season. It stymied a lot of what this season could have been for Orlando. I do understand that they're very, very young. I do understand that they did go out and pay a little money to KCP, and he just hasn't paid off dividends. But man, you have enough young talent that you weren't using to kind of pawn off to go out and get like a sharpshooter. And Dallas took big advantage of that. Big advantage. So check this out. Dallas shot worse in the paint, but won by 9. This is how powerful 3-point shot differential is. Orlando was a +8 in the paint, but a -30 from deep. I mean, Grand Canyon style difference there. Now we're going to talk about this game. So, we got Taylor Jenkins going to Washington, D.C., and here's the reason why. Okay. So, we know what happened last night. Okay? Now, this Taylor Jenkins thing kind of overshadowed this, but this was going to be a large topic of this conversation, of this podcast, before this was going to be a large version of this podcast before the Taylor Jenkins saga just came out of nowhere. So Indiana went into Washington last night and dropped 162 points. We're talking 64.1% from the field, 57.4% from three, 48 assists on 59 made baskets. This is an offense. This is surgical theater. Tyrese Halliburton, 29 points. 6 of 7. No, check this out. 29 points. 7 to 10 from 3. I mean, literally. You can go up and down the lineup. Check this out. 7 guys in double figures. 92 points from the bench. 92. That's an entire G League team outperforming the Wizards starters. Every rotation was just basically just giving it to Washington. And listen, I understand that Washington is not trying to be good, but this is taking it to another level. Watching the Pacers felt like watching Doom Part 2. Beautiful spacing, elite production, and had you left you asking this question: did it really just happen? Did 162 points was that really on the scoreboard? Let me start with one thing positive about the Washington Wizards last night. Alex Sarr scored 22 points. Some nice touch shots. Looked like a real NBA big. That's it. That's all I can give you. Jordan Poole had 18. Also had a technical. And if this is not a microcosm of Jordan Poole experience, I don't know what is. Tristan Vucevic gave the worst 14-minute shift of the season with a negative 28 plus minus. Negative 28. Listen, that it's bad. 0 rim protection. Rotations were late. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. If I was a Washington Wizards fan, I'd probably be like, "Hey, I'm a go early. I'm gonna leave early." You know what I'm saying? Offensive rating for this game for the Pacers 161.4. For the Wizards, offensive rating 103.4. That is a net rating differential of plus 58 for the Indiana Pacers. So net ratings, right? You know, everybody wants to talk about how like it's a nerd stat and all this type of stuff, but at the end of the day, you know, yeah, this is an anomaly. 58 points. You're not supposed to beat the team by 58 points. It's not ever supposed to happen. That's why this is so incredible. And again, we'll talk about the spacing again. It was a chef's kiss. Halliburton ran high pick and roll. You'd collapse, boom, swing to Walker or Nembhard, corner 3, buckets. Obi Toppin was moving like he was trying to earn second contract. You know what I'm saying? He was out there shooting all gas, no brakes. They shot over 64%. It wasn't lucky. They were getting real deep paint touches and kicking it out to wide open 3-point shooters. I mean, it was just It was just like practice. Just like Allen Iverson said, practice, practice, practice. This is what the Indiana offense was kind of doing last year. Remember last year when they were kind of going off like this? So it looked like a machine. They had a game, I guess, against Atlanta last year, and I think they put up like plus 140. But 140 is not 162. Okay? You can't let 162 happen on your home court. This team doesn't have a direction. Poole, he collects a paycheck. Bub Carrington is raw, but I love the traits and some of the tendencies. Last night, notwithstanding, Sarr needs to put on weight. That's what we're looking like. But at the end of the day, it's just one loss. And it's another loss closer to Cooper Flag. So for my Washington Wizards fans out there, you know what I'm saying? Keep on looking at March Madness. Did you see what Cooper Flag did last? Just warm yourself with the nice, comforting blanket that Cooper Flag could be to you in a couple months here if you continue to tank on this epic level. Don't give up 132 points, though. That's terrible. That's bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, of course, I am going to talk about the Lakers. And yes, this is a feel-good Friday. And yes, you will sit here and say, well, why is he going to leave us with the Lakers? And no, it's going to make him sad. But no, we're going to talk about this. So let's get into it. That game last night, first of all, let's get into some of the whys and the hows and the whatevers, okay? I understand that Luka is a wizard on the offensive end of the court. I understand that LeBron is a supercomputer. I understand that Reeves is, a budding, reliable third wheel who they'll be able to lean on in the playoffs. All that I do not disagree with whatsoever. But that fourth quarter last night that's on y'all, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's on y'all. Because they lost to Chicago last night. Now, you would say, well, they did that in LA. What's the difference? Why is this so bad? Well, I'll give you the reason. Now, I'm going to give you some good things, but I'm going to give you some bad things that go along with this. Reeves had 30 points on 17 field goal attempts. He also went 7 for 7 from the free throw line. The Lakers tricked off a excellent game from Jackson Hayes. He had 19 points, 8 rebounds, and he was 9 for 11 from the field. Now, I think DFS is still dealing with an ankle issue, but he was 1 of 5, and he was a -10 when he was on the court. And now we'll talk about the fourth quarter. The Lakers went 1 of 9 from 3 in the fourth quarter. And you go, well, sometimes you can have a bad shooting quarter on threes. I got you. I get you. But the thing that really kills me is this, is that they were just destroying Chicago in the paint. The lobs to Jackson Hayes became circus-like. It became, those trampoline dunks, like during timeouts and stuff like that.
Jackson Hayes had a couple of those like in real game time. Again, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 9 of 11 from the field. They weren't hitting threes, but the lob was working, and they decided to not go to it at all in the fourth quarter. Now, let's look on the other side of the page, right? Let's look at Chicago and what they did in the fourth quarter. The Bulls in the fourth quarter, they were 15 of 19 from the field in total. They were 11 of 14 from three-point land. That's 78.6%, folks, if you're counting. They hit 11 threes in one quarter. That's 33 points on its own. Giddey, another great game. He's killing the Lakers. 25 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. And yes, we'll talk about the dagger in a second. Kobe White absolutely erupted in the fourth quarter. He hit 4 threes in the fourth alone. Kevin Huerter went absolutely apeshit. 3 of 3 in the fourth quarter alone. The lineup with Giddey, Kobe, Huerter, Patrick Williams, and Vucevic, they were just skip passes, flare screens, empty corners, weak side lifts. It was a master class in modern spacing. They were just absolutely just dissecting the Lakers, and they just basically said, this team is old. We're going to run them from one corner to another corner, and they can't keep up with us. Now, here's some couple things to think about. DFS was starting for Rui. Rui did not play in this game. He sat out the back-to-back. He had played in the Indiana game. So, you can take that. Gabe Vincent provided no creation and no shot gravity in the fourth quarter whatsoever. The Luka LeBron final act, it was like The Rock and the Cena tag team, both of them want the hot tag. There was no flow. There was no off-ball synergy. And just slow developing ISOs. It was like they were milking the clock. It was like they were trying to play like a four-corner offense with like with like some time left on the court. Now, and here's the other thing. Reeves has been hot all night. He's been a connector and a scorer. Hayes has been good all night. He provided a bunch of rim gravity and vertical spacing, and he was aggressive going to the rim, and it's something that you could have revisited in the fourth quarter, and you did not. Again, they were without Rui, so okay. But without Rui, you can't just have your defense go to shit in the fourth quarter. You just can't do it. It can't happen. So, what does this mean for the Lakers? They got some stuff to fix. This is not one of those you throw the game away and whatever. This is not one of those situations. No, this is a teachable moment for JJ Redick, and I hope that he uses a ton of foul language. There's a bunch of frustration, and he's throwing his clipboard all around, and he's throwing his hands in the air and just going, I don't know what to do. Because this is on y'all. That pass that LeBron James made out of bounds to Austin Reeves was either fatigue, he wasn't locked in mentally, something went wrong in that it was such a lazy pass. Not very LeBron James like. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. The turnovers were just piling up, kept compiling. And then the last 10 seconds happened. In the last 10 seconds, everybody knows 9 points in 10 seconds. Kobe White hits a 3 off a broken play. The Lakers inbound. Reeves is trapped. Patrick Williams for three. Boom. Another ball. Bad inbounds. Ball tip. Okay. Reeves hits his shots, right? And then they come back down the court. And Giddey has the ball. Nobody stops it. Nobody picks him up. He pulls up from 47 feet. And it hits nothing but the bottom of the damn net. And you should have lost. You should have lost. And that is how it happened. Oh my God. And Giddey was the hero of this game. Obviously, Kobe White went crazy. The Lakers don't have anybody to blame but themselves. They took their foot off the gas pedal. They didn't foul. They didn't get anybody on him. And he just walked into a 47-footer. Like straight on line with the goal. 47-foot. Nothing but the bottom of the net. It's inexcusable. Losses like this. The loss that they had a couple, what was it? You know, they lost a couple close games prior to this. This is not cool. You got to put 48 minutes together. It is not 42. It is not 44. Oh, we can play 45 minutes of basketball, and then the last 3 minutes we can just kind of just trick off. Nope. In Chicago, who is under 500, one of the teams that we kind of said chalk up as a win for you, especially knowing that they drummed you on your home court. You were looking for getting your lick back. That's what I thought. Oh, they embarrassed us on our home court. Let's go in here, take care of business, and then let's go out and, you know, have some wine or whatever the case may be after the game. That's what I thought. No. Instead, sloppy play all fourth quarter. This team believed in itself. Kobe White seems to me to be like the emotional leader of that team. How he goes, so goes that team right now. It is beautiful to see. Shouts out to Kobe White. I hope you get paid, my brother. You have been doing your damn thing. I am so glad to see his development and how it's turned out. So the Lakers have a lot to do. They need to look at themselves in the mirror. They definitely need to figure out what the hell's going on with Bron and Luka. Who's going to be taking care of the ball in the fourth quarter? Is it going to be a split between those two? Is Austin going to be implemented in this whatsoever? What is going to happen? Because last night is one of those nights where you got to go, you know, this is one of those you tell your partner, hey, you messing up right now. You need to get your shit together. Everybody has had that conversation with a good friend of theirs. Hell, I've been on the opposite side of that conversation. I have had friends tell me, hey, you need to get your shit together. Now, I haven't had that. I haven't had that for more than 8 years. Thank God. Thank you, God, for discernment. I appreciate it so much. But if I'm the Lakers, if I'm JJ Redick right now, there is nothing that is off the table. Nothing. So, I don't know what that film session was like, but I hope it was a harsh film session and some people come out of that feeling like, man, I need to listen to some pick-me-up music right now because I am bummed out by all of this bad shit that just came out of this film session. Because nothing good could come out of that. Because it was terrible. And you should be embarrassed. With that being said, on this Feel Good Friday, I want to say, shouts out to Soraya. I want to shout out couple other members of the staff that we're kind of going through some stuff right now, but y'all know who y'all are. Thank you so much for what y'all do. We appreciate you. And I want to thank the audience. I want to thank you guys because we're back on track. You are getting it Tuesday and Friday. We are giving it to you twice a week. And we are going to keep up the heat next week as well, because we are going to start breaking down playoffs. We're going to start breaking down some draft stuff. I'm going to get in the lab this weekend. We're going to have some updates on some player profiles on the website. So keep a lookout. Keep it tight. But the first and foremost thing that I want you guys to do is this. Follow us on your podcast platform of choice. Follow us, subscribe, however it works. Please give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed this podcast, because we enjoy bringing it to you. The other thing, check out our YouTube community page, because we are going to start activating that bad boy after this podcast. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Blue Sky. Let me give you those again. Mine is at FrontrunnerPC on X, at FrontrunnerPC.bsky.social, and for Soraya at Rhea _Funch FRPC on X, and for Blue Sky it's at FRPC Rhea, and that is spelled RAYA .bsky.social. So, you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of the Sweet 16. Florida got in that butt last night. You know what I'm saying? Cooper Flag was amazing. So, we got a lot of NBA draft talk to talk about next week. So, you know how we going to leave you on this Feel Good Friday. Go out and have some fun on Friday. 1, 2, the other thing. The best part of you is you. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with positive people that are supporting you and what you're trying to do. If those people are exhibiting those behaviors, make sure to acknowledge those who are giving you that love, that support that you need to go out and carry out the light that you're permeating out to the world. And also, do yourself a real favor. Appreciate those who are doing that for you as well. Appreciate those who are taking care of you and allowing you to be great. So go out and be great this weekend. Have a great time. And we will see you back on this podcast feed on what? Tuesday. Deuces.